Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
Well, more of us are dry than wet, but those winds won't leave us alone. Flood warning still up. We'll tell you when everything calms down.
He says it was a mistake.
And I called him in and said, "What were you thinking?"
Mayor Duggan addresses those deleted emails and details what he plans to do and not do about it.
But we're going to begin tonight with questions surrounding the death of a Detroit 6-year-old. Topping our news at 5, the child was rushed to the hospital this morning after police say she was found unresponsive.
It happened on Lake Point Street, right in the area of Whittier and Beaconsfield. Our Paula Tutman spoke to neighbors as police work to figure out what really happened.
I think you have to feel for this family anytime you lose a child. So we're talking about a 6-year-old who, when her aunt woke up, says the child was beside her and wasn't breathing. Police were called to the 1000 block of Lake Point on Detroit's east side on a report that a child was not breathing, a 6-year-old. A huge police presence, as police tell me they didn't know if it was a case of an adult sleeping with a child who rolled over on the child, and that the death is being investigated. Neighbors are understandably distraught.
My kids play with these kids every day. Every day. These are good neighbors. So I don't know what's going on here. I'm trying to find out myself. It's shocking to me right now. I'm hurt.
The child was declared dead at a nearby hospital. Police have not released the name of that child or the aunt who called in the report. But family members say that the child had at least 4 siblings who also lived in the house. One family member even shared this video of a happy, lively child. Family and friends say this is Kennedy Johnson. Right now, the medical examiner is trying to determine if her death was a tragic accident, natural causes, or anything else. But one thing is clear, her loss is shocking and tragic to all who love her. Paula Tutman, Local 4.
And police say again that the cause of death is still being investigated by the medical examiner.
Quite a blustery day across Metro Detroit with some gusty winds moving through after last night's rain.
Yeah, let's get over to Ben. He's tracking that and a few showers on the radar as well, Ben.
One of those flags didn't make it, but yes, we've got bigger problems here, especially on that northern end of Lake St. Clair. Those southwest winds have been relentless today, and that's why those lakeshore flood warnings remain in effect until midnight tonight. But truthfully, we're still going to be fighting those winds through the day on Wednesday as well. These are the latest gusts. We've seen them as high as 40 miles per hour at times this afternoon. In fact, you can sort of see where that purple sort of moved into eastern or western portions of Ontario. That's where we saw some of the faster gusts that were over us just about an hour ago. Otherwise, there are showers out there. A lot of those on the west side of the state are pretty light, but the stuff that's over us right now is similar. Temperatures will fall into the 40s by midnight tonight. Again, the winds are going to hold on for a while. We'll look at when those calm down and whether the weekend brings any relief from these cooler temperatures, all in a few minutes. Guys?
All right, Ben. Tonight we're getting our first look at the man accused of killing a father of 2 inside the bathroom of a Roseville bar.
Nolan Baca appeared in court today to be formally charged with second-degree murder. Let's get to Larry Spruill. He's live tonight. And Larry, the mother of one of the victim's children was in the courtroom, too.
Yeah, Devin and Kimberly, now we spoke with her right after court, and she tells me it's a very tough time for not only her, but her little boy as well. She was inside that courtroom when she saw the man that police say allegedly killed her boyfriend inside Dooley's right here. She tells me right now she wants justice.
People versus Nolan Baca.
Nolan Baca in court Tuesday via monitor, hearing the multiple charges he's now facing.
You were here today for an arraignment. You are charged in a felony complaint with 3 counts. Count 1 is second-degree murder, which is punishable by up to life in prison. Count 2 is a felony firearm. It reads specifically that you did carry or have in your possession a firearm. Count 3 is carrying a concealed weapon, a 5-year felony.
Police say Nolan Baca allegedly shot and killed father of 2, Johnny Mohawk Ozarski, inside this Dooley's bar over the weekend.
I just know that he's gone and my son will never see his father again.
Carly Wilson is the mother of Johnny's 2.5-year-old son. She tells Local 4 Johnny was inside the bar with friends when a fight started inside.
When I was told he was just using the restroom and the guy bumped into him and said, "Get out of my way."
Police say during the fight, Nolan Baca fired his gun. Ozarski was hit. He died.
Part of me wanted to scream, but I know I can't, so I'm just trying to keep it together for him. He's just the guy that to make everybody laugh, and he always wanted to have a good time.
And a judge did deny bond earlier today. He's due back in court next Wednesday. We're live in Roseville tonight. Larry Sproul, Local 4.
Okay, Larry. Actress Lori Loughlin, her fashion designer husband, and 9 other parents face new charges in the college admissions scandal. Federal prosecutors announced today the parents were indicted on charges of conspiracy to commit federal program bribery. The charge accuses the parents of attempting to bribe officials at an organization that receives federal funding. They're accused of paying bribes to get their children admitted to the University of Southern California. They already face charges of money laundering, fraud, and conspiracy.
Well, he says she made a mistake in judgment, but that it shouldn't cost her her job. That's what Mayor Duggan has to say about the damaging Inspector General's report claiming Chief of Staff Alexis Wiley ordered staffers to delete emails. Those were emails that were tied to the city's relationship with the Make Your Date nonprofit. We bring in Rod Maloney, who's following this for us today. And Rod, you've got more on what the mayor had to say.
Yeah, Devin, this is the Inspector General's report. Came out yesterday, and she is not a fan of the way the mayor started this nonprofit, basically saying that there was no bidding process is what should have happened. But the mayor says, look, this is world-class care here that was done for women who were pregnant. And so he said there was nobody else who could do this, and that's why he made the decisions that he did. In the meantime, he says this report clears him.
There is no finding that anybody in the city broke any laws. There's no finding that anybody violated any ordinances. There's no finding anybody violated any policies or city rules. There's no finding of conflict of interest. And there's no finding that any money was misspent.
Mayor Duggan defiant and confident in declaring his office did nothing wrong. But the OIG doesn't do legal analysis. It investigates waste, fraud, abuse, and corruption. OIG Ellen Ha points out.
And for someone to direct someone, especially someone from very high up, to direct delete email, it just sends the wrong message about democracy.
Ha was speaking about the mayor's chief of staff, Alexis Wiley, and the heads of the city's development office. Yet the mayor won't fire anyone, opting for retraining instead.
They made a mistake in judgment. There's no question about that in what they did. I believe this is the appropriate action to be taken.
The mayor will not go into his personal relationship with Dr. Sonia Hassan, but it became sensational fodder for a businessman suing Detroit who had a private investigator follow the mayor for months and ran the video of him visiting Hassan on a rolling billboard.
When I look at this, they never would have ordered anybody to delete emails if they weren't under the stress of this. And so I don't put most of the blame on them. I put most of the blame on me.
Okay, now, Mayor Duggan says that the atmosphere that he was talking about that led Wiley to ask for those deleted emails was something that he was responsible for, and that they were trying to protect a couple of junior staffers, and that was the sole motivation. He said they didn't even delete any of their own emails. It was just to protect these junior staffers, and he said for that, well, they have to get some retraining in. In the meantime, the mayor says he tried desperately to put out those emails to show that there was nothing in them, but he said that he was stopped by the Inspector General because she wanted to continue her investigation and thought that might be a problem. Back to you.
Well, Rod, of course, the Inspector General's investigation doesn't really have true teeth exactly, but there are other investigations going on.
Well, there is one by the Attorney General's office, and they're the ones that look at either criminal wrongdoing or other kinds of wrongdoing that could be problematic for the mayor. We're still waiting to see what they have to say about all of this.
Yeah, you bet. All right, Rod. A new fire breaks out at an abandoned school where 2 firefighters were already injured earlier this month.
Detroit Fire was again called to Phoenix Academy at Lane Street and Central Avenue in southwest Detroit. An area block club president tells us this is the 3rd fire here in the past 2 months. She says she's called the school board several times about the school, but nothing has changed.
This community has been out there pushing them to secure their building, for them to get a renter in here so that it would stay secure, to not lose this beautiful resource. It's just crazy how much waste has gone on.
And from what we know, no one was injured in today's fire. The city of Dearborn Heights is advising homeowners of results of testing for lead in water.
It is a small percentage of homes that have elevated lead levels. The city says only 175 of its residential water customers had lead water service lines, and 30 of those sites were tested. 5 of them had levels above what is known as the action level. Wayne County is going to provide free water filters for economically disadvantaged residents. We've got more on what homeowners need to know on clickondetroit.com. Just head to the news page.
Much more ahead. Here's Hank.
They look authentic, but they're actually fake, and they're a big danger. Coming up in my Help Me Hank report, we'll shed light on the dark world of deep fake videos, and we'll tell you how high-tech companies and the government are trying to stop them right now.
All right, Hank, also the country's highest-ranking environmental official stops in Detroit and makes a major commitment to our state's most critical natural resource. Nick.
A discussion with police about what parents should know when trick-or-treating when it comes to sex offenders and what they are and are not allowed to do.